And we stretched in our beds in rows in the late afternoon. It's like millionaires.
In those places, people were closer to each other. A knock on the door, someone has a bottle to share.
Yeah, very true. Uh, there was almost, I'll say no night there because that's the way we used to talk. No night there you went without a drink, and if you didn't have one, if somebody'd show up, I guess why they did it, I don't know, but it just happened. Like many a night I'd be laying there and say, Jesus, what am I get? I have all out of money. Somebody would knock, and the door would open, and here'd come a hand with a bottle. How you doing, Hank? Hey, come on in. And then you start drinking. Pretty soon someone else comes in. Pretty soon you look up, there are 3 or 4 people in the room, a tiny room. And all of a sudden, people start getting up money. They run out of wine. Somebody gets up a quarter, somebody gets up $1. Somebody runs down the hall, comes back with a... Pretty soon, somebody goes down. There's more wine bottles. Pretty soon, everybody's smoking, drinking, talking. The radio's on. Everybody's drunk. Can you imagine this happening in this neighborhood? Come on. Quite interesting. So the poor, since they have, what's the difference between having 75 cents or nothing? You know, you might as well give it to someone else, share it. So it's pretty good. Style.
You got the black flag. You didn't exit the pit safely.
Style
We have a
is the
domino
answer
penalty.
to everything. A fresh way to approach a dull or dangerous thing. To do a dull thing with style is preferable to doing a dangerous thing without it. Joan of Arc had style. John the Baptist, Christ, Socrates, Caesar, Garcia Lorca. Style is the difference. A way of doing, a way of being done.
Green, green, green. Okay, here comes your first time lap.
6 herons standing quietly in a pool of water. Or you walking out of the bathroom naked without seeing them.
You have about 2 laps of fuel left. One more lap. You have about 1 lap of fuel left.
The big hype now is to bring up, there's a message goes through the underworld of all the grapevine, all the big leagues. The big message now is to bring up Elizabeth Taylor back to where she used to be. Now all the hype and the propaganda is to say, Elizabeth Taylor is a great, beautiful woman. She's the most wonderful creature of all time. Now all the hype, all the media has been told to do this, and they're doing it. All of a sudden, I read the papers and I think, God, she must be some kind of super goddess. All these films I saw her in were really crappy, except the one, you know, Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf.
5,
Oh, I read about, oh, I missed something.
right here.
And then there's even a quote from J.D. Salinger. She's the most beautiful woman I've ever seen. And you know, when I was a kid, and I'm 61, when I saw her as a kid, now that's not, okay, I did. I thought, that woman is really ugly. Her face is ugly, her eyes are ugly, her mouth is ugly. And I always thought Elizabeth Taylor is one of the most ugly women I've ever seen. She was the most portentous, evil, grabbing, gross. She exemplifies the female creature grabbing for everything because her lips are formed a little bit like that, and her eyebrows are a little bit like that, and her eyes are a little bit like that, and her hair is a little bit like that. That has nothing to do with beauty. That has things to do with the mathematical equation of where the chin should be and the ear should be. Beauty is nothing. It's an idea of something. The gods don't give beauty. The gods don't give beauty. There's no idea of physical beauty. So she's a stupid woman. Oh my God, it makes me sick. I'm sorry. And she can sue me for saying it. I'll stand on it. You can put it right on in. If I said what I said, I will say, Elizabeth Taylor, you are an ugly woman. And we will go into the courts to prove whether you're ugly or beautiful. And the judges will say you're beautiful, but the gods of everywhere beyond this place will know that you were not beautiful. You just, ears were formed in a certain way. Your mouth was formed in a certain way. Your eyes were formed a certain way. But you were not beautiful, Elizabeth Taylor. You were hardly anything. This is beautiful. So, this is where I live. And drank and wrote some stories, some poems, and had a hell of a lot of trouble. I guess trouble makes stories, you know. That's about it. This is the place. I've got a lot of work done here. Great.
This is where you wrote Woman and where most of Woman happens.
A lot of them were here. In fact, I think all of them came here at one time or another. There were a lot of them, good and bad, mostly bad. But I got a book out of it. So that's all. That's lots of airplanes. The cops used to circle overhead with their helicopters, shine the light down. The helicopters used to circle our pad. You know, we'd go out and look at them nude and naked and leering. That was great. Kill you. I listen to the glass breaking. You see shards of glass flying through the night. You'd hear screaming. But you know, the cops never came. It would go on for 2 or 3 hours. And finally there would be silence of one voice. So you knew somebody either be dead or reamed up the ass with a telephone pole or something, you know, like they got what they wanted. Well, San Pedro's all right, but I kind of miss those nights too. Kind of interesting. Almost like the cops never came in those cases. Generally speaking, you're free till you're about 4 years old. And then 5 around. Then you go to grammar school, and then you start becoming demented and solved and orientated and shoved into areas. You lose what individualism you have. If you have enough, of course, you retain some of it. But most don't have enough, so you become watchers of game shows, and things like that. Then you work the 8-hour job with almost a feeling of goodness, like you're doing something. And you get married like marriage is a victory, and you have children like children is a victory. But most things most people do are a total grind. Marriage, birth, children. It's something they have to do because there's nothing else to do. There's no glory in it, there's no steam, there's no fire. It's very, very flat. On the earth, it's full of them. Sorry, but that's the way I see it. The proud, thin, dying.
The yellow flag is out. They want you.
I see old people on pensions in the supermarkets, and they are thin, and they are proud, and they are dying. They are starving on their feet and saying nothing. Long ago, among other lies, they were taught that silence was bravery.
Luckily, we didn't wreck nobody else.
Now, having worked a lifetime, inflation has trapped them. They look around, steal a grape, chew on it. Finally, they make a tiny purchase, a day's worth.
Cannot do that for them.
Another lie they were taught.
No, they're in the picture.
Thou shalt not steal. They'd rather starve than steal. One grape won't save them. And in tiny rooms, while reading the market ads, they'll starve. They'll die without a sound, pulled out of rooming houses by young blonde boys with long hair who slide them in and pull away from the curb. These boys, handsome of eye, thinking of Vegas and pussy and victory. It's the order of things. Each one gets a taste of honey, then the knife. No gods. I go with Ibsen's The Strongest Men Are Without Gods. I think it was Ibsen. If it wasn't, whoever said it was a fine gentleman.
So when you talk about the gods, it's mostly about your luck. And you talk very often about the luck.
The luck. And luck, we can go into that for centuries, is talent mixed with circumstance, mixed with being there at a certain spot when somebody is looking at you. That's all. I have no more to say.
You think there are many people that are
No. There isn't any undiscovered talent laying around under the bushes. It's just not there. In fact, as time goes more and more on, there seems to be an attrition of natural creative talent. I guess it is the crush of the numbers upon the earth, and also the fact that we're all narrowed down through shit like television, newspapers, communication. Communication is the greatest destroyer of talent because it makes everybody like everybody else. And the only way a child who you must start as a child to become original is to be shut out from these forces of communication. And the only way you can do that is to have cruel parents, to be buried underground for 6 months or something terrible. The brilliant child cannot be brilliant because he's taught to be brilliant. You see, he must be the counterpart of all these forces that are telling him what to do. It gets harder and harder for a child to become individual because they're more and more melded together into one piece. So as time goes on and on, it'll be more and more difficult. We're going to have to look in little places in Africa and okay, this sounds very dismal, but that's it. The chance for genius becomes less and less. The others say it becomes more and more, but it's the same kind of genius that they agree with, you see. The true genius like Bill Meaning, Adolf Hitler, and Charles Bukowski will become less and less and less. Further question?
there is something behind the light.
The devil's face. The only time I've been felt desperate for company is when I've been set up by a broad. Like, you know, they make you used to them, you know, some long red-haired bitch walking along with her hair, looking at herself in the mirror, putting on lipstick, talking. They cause the vacancy when they're gone, but it's not a true vacancy, you see. What you're trying to do is find someone to substitute for what is gone when they are gone. But this is not you. This is what they have built in you, the vision that they want. But if they stay over 6 or 7 days, 2 or 3 weeks, it heals. You don't need anybody. You don't need a replacement. What it is just a mirage of somebody you think you need, you see.
What was that? How do you stop the lane and just not take it? Guys, hold your brake.
You think there's absolutely no way the human condition can be improved?
Well, you know, anybody asked that question would have to swallow a martini and an olive before answering it. Would you ask me that again?
I mean, you think there is no way that anything can be improved in the sufferings of man and the problems of man?
I would
Maybe
say
the rent control or
no. I would say, if you're really serious, I would say we would need less God, guru, spiritual outlets
Most of them don't, Chris. Most of them don't.
which allow people to escape their pains in another God form, in order to exist. In other words, if you have an ultra God up there that you can crawl to after you've been defeated all day long by a guy you're working a 14-hour day for $6 an hour or $3 an hour, well, then you're only helping that man.
When you just say what you did, it diffuses the whole situation.
In other words, I would say the only way humanity can escape what is bothering them a little bit,
unfortunately,
is by removing
it's not even that hard to say pity.
the creatures in the sky and coming down and facing what's looking at them. But you're not going to get them to do that.
Yeah, because everybody on here...
So they're going to keep on accepting their bad husbands, their bad wives, their bad jobs, their bad whores, their bad children.
Really?
Because they have gods up in the sky. Later, we're going to solve all these things for them when it's all unscrambled after they die, you see.
In this division.
But after you die, there's no time to unscramble things. And they can't even be unscrambled now, but they can be, a few kinks can be taken out of the air hoses so you can breathe a little better.
I got into these cars about a year ago, but one guy I ended up racing with a lot that wrecked.
I'm not a guru.
Wanderly or whatever. God, that guy's a menace.
I wish you wouldn't pose these things.
Yeah, he's always
man.
Valmore's not much fun.
Ask me about women or something.
That Wonderland guy, he wrecks like 9 out of 10 races, dude. I was just you said that, dude. I just started laughing. I'm like, I recognize that bitch. And the sad part is, some of the bitches fast qualifying. He just doesn't know how to play well with others.
The further away I am from the human race, the better I feel. Even though I write about the human race, the further away I am from them, the better I feel. 2 inches is great, 2 miles is great, 2,000 miles is beautiful. As long as I'm able to eat. They feed me because I feed them. I don't like to be near them. When somebody even brushes against me with an elbow in a crowd, I react. I do not like the human race. I don't like their heads, I don't like their faces, I don't like their feet, I don't like their conversations, I don't like their hairdos, I don't like their automobiles, I don't like their dogs or their cats or their roses. Earthquake. Americans don't know what tragedy is. A little 6.5 earthquake can send them to chattering like monkeys. A piece of chinaware broken. The Union Rescue Mission falls down. 6 a.m. They sit in their cars. They're all driving around. Where are they going? A little excitement has broken into their canned lives. Stranger stands next to stranger, chattering gibberish fear, anxious laughter. My baby, my flower pots, my ceiling, my bank account. This is just a tickler, a feather, and they can't bear it. Suppose they bombed the city as other cities have been bombed. Not with an A-bomb, but with ordinary blockbusters, day after day, every day, as has happened in other cities of the world. If the rest of the world could only see you today, their laughter would bring the sun to its knees. and even the flowers would leap from the ground like bulldogs and chase you away to where you belong, wherever that is. And who cares where it is, as long as it's somewhere away from here. I'm not interested in solving the ills of society. I don't want to save the world. I don't even want to save me. I think most talk is so boring. I mean, save this, do that, do this. I think we're all so boring saying everything. We don't even want to save ourselves. We're so boring talking about it. There's nothing left to say. We're so fucking boring. Let it die, I say. Let there be a new beginning. It's awful. Good night. Funny thing has been shut off for 20 minutes, I know. You guys don't fool me. Shit. And you missed the best part.
So,
Look, there's a sense of human privacy I believe that everybody should have. And if they come in with 3 heads on, that's their business. If I come in with 4 heads on, that's my business. Well, you just take a glance and go back and say, well, I'll have French fries and onions, you know, that's it. It's what I call style. Style is very important. A sense of decency. If we have nothing else left amongst our carnivorous, gluttonous, anti-human, anti-life ways, we should have a minor sense of style left in all the rubbish. We should realize, well, we're all dead, we're all fucked up, but at least give us a glance and settle with our indifferences and order our meals and leave each other alone. It's a graceful sense of style, that's all. Why stare? Why, if you stare, you're trying to defeat and say, I am better than you are. Of course, I am better. I don't have to glance and stare. Yes?
so the style applies to everything, not to the guiding the key or the whole way of behaving, not only up there and everything.
I think style is more important. I always like to use that, more important than truth, you know, like I say. Endurance is more important than truth. I think all things are more important than truth. If we keep thinking of truth, we're not going to get there. What we do all things outside of truth, and we may arrive there, but we don't search for truth. We do everything except the truth. You understand? We just don't fuck with truth. We don't go to temples. We don't go to special occasions. We sit in small rooms, pull down the shades, and jack off or read a magazine. That's the truth.
Right,
Come on by, bro. Thank you. No problem. I think I have breakfast later.
You know, sometimes I've walked down the streets, you know, and I felt like you want to reach out and grab this woman and do it, but you think, just before you reach, you think, why haven't other men reached? And you think, because there's a penalty for this. We're all screamed. We're screamed through the years. You see. It's very interesting. You realize how well we're screamed, but then they think they've screamed us, and all of a sudden we fool them finally on some bright day in some special place. And we cut off their legs, their arms, their heads, float them down the river, laugh and drink our wine, and eat our chocolate cake. Okay. So, we're all that way. Not only me, but you, and you. We're all rapists, we're all murderers. It's just, well, I'm not a murderer. It's just, can we get away with it? That's what holds us back, I think. Or maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I've admired all men, like Adolf Hitler. All gross, evil creatures have something, because I don't believe in the rules. I mean, you're supposed to, this is not right. These guys just come out and say, I'll do it. Wow. You know, they have escaped from all teaching. And so the rest of humanity says they're insane. They're insane.
So what happens when these evil men start attracting followers?
Well, if enough evil men attract enough followers, and the followers spread all over the earth, and they become good men, then we need new evil men to overthrow. Evil is what most people don't do well by people who do the other thing.
Sibling was evil.
Well, all the good men are evil that I can think of. Only using in the terms of human terms that they say this man is evil. To me, the evil men are the good men. You see, it's all reversed. Anybody who can see the opposite of what's going on, I think is exceptional. Like, any place you go, you see a long line of people standing. You see another line. You see a line of 50 people standing in one line, and 4 people standing in another. You know which line you get into, don't you, baby? You always get in a line of 10 people, and you'll be better off.
No matter what.
Right, automatically.
Politically, in any way.
It's because the masses are always wrong. You see a line of 1,000, a line of 800, a line of 50, a line of 12, a line of 2. If you just see an open place waiting for, nobody's going to go there. Go right there, and that's going to be it. Wisdom is doing everything the crowd does not do. All you do is reverse the totality of their learning, and you have the heaven they're looking for. It's true.
That's how you win at the track.
Well, that's how I break even at the track and why they lose. So, yeah, it's a basic wisdom. Wherever the crowd goes, run the other direction. We're always wrong. Through centuries, they're wrong. They will always be wrong. This whole place is diseased with the presence of everybody but myself. Now Linda's gonna come back. I'm not gonna be happy when she comes back. Pretend I say hi. I just don't like people. I only like myself. There's something wrong with me. I don't know what it is, but I'm not going to try to cure it. All I want is what I am. I'm going to keep pumping up what I love. You smell a rose up your asshole. Your asshole is dead shit to begin with. It doesn't matter whether a rose is up it or a thorn's dick. God, you people don't understand any inventive decency of any sort. You're just so subliminal to whatever occurrence. You just ride a tender little wave of nowhere. You have no original courage of definition. You're all flat pancake mamas with syrup spilled over your heads. You have nothing. You have no direction. You have no motive. All you want is money. You don't even know what money is. You want it. But when you get it, you wouldn't even know what to do with it. Just smear it up your asshole and swallow it. Out your nostril of death. And I know less than you either. Even though I talk about it, at least I smooth it out and dance it around, which makes more sense than just letting sit still. I'm pretty clever in spite of my dumbness. Don't worry. I handle my asshole twirls. Okay, next question, next poem. Shit. I'm sure you've all been at places like this. The man at the piano. The man at the piano plays a song he didn't write, sings words that aren't his, upon a piano he doesn't own. While people at tables eat, drink, and talk, the man at the piano finishes to no applause, then begins to play a new song he didn't write, begins to sing words that aren't his upon a piano that isn't his. As the people at the tables continue to eat, drink, and talk, when he finishes to no applause, he announces over the mic that he is going to take a 10-minute break. He goes back to the men's room, enters a toilet booth, bolts the door, sits down, pulls out a joint, lights up. He's glad he's not at the piano. And the people at the tables, eating, drinking, and talking, are glad he isn't there either. This is the way it goes almost everywhere, with everybody and everything, as fiercely in the hinterlands the black swan burns. What are we gonna do? Let's go to Paris and burn the town down. Shit, man. Oh.
You don't hear anything?
No, we haven't
The
hooked
mic
up.
disappeared again.
There should be a camera doing what we're trying to do. Wait, I can't find it. Oh, Linda, help me. I'm 60 now. Oh, I feel something. What? Something's coming out. Something's going down. Wait, what is it? Is this all right? Can you hear? There's a little clip. Well, Henry Miller's dead. They got to find somebody dying. Jeez, if we had done this with Henry in his last days. Yeah. He appeared on all the talk shows. Baby, you're not going to get... Well, this is just as bad, isn't it? Next question. Shit. Aw.
Why you don't want to get in touch?
Going to a talk show. Okay. A man begins typewriting with a typewriter. Generally, he's got a tiny room somewhere, and he begins telling something, I won't say that's bothering him, but something that must come out. And it just comes out naturally, like a firecracker exploding. You put a match to it, it blows up. And this process goes on a while, and it's a very good process. And all of a sudden, you get a letter in the mail, the royalties get a little better, and somebody says, I'll give you $375 to appear on the talk show for 15 minutes. The other guest will be so-and-so and so-and-so. And you know what? They bite on it. How can they have the strength to begin with to be original, and then have the very non-strength to appear on a talk show and sit in a chair and say little unreal things because they're not going to say anything real sitting with the other people? Why do they do it? I don't know. It's like swallowing your own vomit. I was going to say, if you ever catch me on a talk show, okay, you can shoot me. No. The only talk show I go on would be Dick Cavett, because that's the only guy I respect. To go on Merv Griffin or Johnny Carson or any of those is swallowing your own vomit. I know you would go. Don't look at me. I am me. You are you. I'm speaking to my companion, my female companion of the moment. No, it's really bad. I don't see how an instinctive person can have that non-instinct to finally bite the poison that they've been trying to avoid. I don't know what else to say. It's just that.
I guess not. Yeah, take a couple of cards put in.
Check it out, please, H card. H card YouTube.
Pit road is now open.
Parts. Just to add a special flavor,
Shit.
those parts should be dangerous if you hit them.
One more
If they're
poem.
that big.
What is it? Oh, this. Okay. The tragedy of the leaves.
Catch the pace car.
I awakened to dryness, and the ferns were dead. The potted plants yellow as corn. My woman was gone, and the empty bottles, like bled corpses, surrounded me with their uselessness. The sun was still good, though, and my landlady's note crackled in fine and undemanding yellowness. What was needed now was a good comedian, ancient style, a gesture with jokes upon absurd pain. Pain is absurd because it exists, nothing more. I shaved carefully with an old razor, the man who had once been young and said to have genius. But that's the tragedy of the leaves, the dead ferns, the dead plants. And I walked into the dark hall where the landlady stood, execrating and final, sending me to hell, waving her fat, sweaty arms and screaming for the rent, because the world had failed us both. Good poem, even though it's an oldie. But I write much better shit now, man.
What's the difference?
Difference is, there is no difference. I write the same thing over and over again. The difference is
Damn, Pierre,
area.
with bad luck, you'd have no luck at all.
But you know, the terror is always there. Man. The ugliness is always there. There's no way out. You can get a beautiful woman living with you, and she can be more ugly than putting your quarter into a newspaper stand, lifting it up, and taking out the next day's news. There's never any escape from anything at all. You're always going to be burned. There's never any pleasantness, easiness anywhere. You'll be burnt down to the grave. No matter how much you know, no matter how much you feel, you're going to be burnt, till the last minute you breathe. Till you open a cap on a mustard jar, you're going to be burnt. Till you open up a can of cat food, you're going to be burnt. Everything is burning. All you're trying to do is walk across a room and drink a glass of water and take it easy. There are always things burning, ripping at you. It's the whole universe. It's everything.
Well, I think
Women, men, friends, everything. Rips and tears. Rips and tears. All you want to do, the best thing seems a good 8-hour sleep if you can get it. If you can't, you might as well get drunk. Hell. I told you I'm not a guru, I'm not a leader. I drink my wine and play the horses and I type poems, that's all there is. I have nothing to say about anything. There's nothing to say. The less I say, the better I feel. We've tried keeping quiet all day long. The moment you awake, till you go to sleep. And better yet, just sleep all day long and forget the day. Get up the next day, you feel great. People do too much. They say too much. There, I'm giving directions. You know what I mean. Forget it. That's my problem. I'm usually living with a woman. I try not to, but somehow I find myself with one. When I'm alone, I'm handling my own propositions. So I always, or usually, when I'm alone, I have periods where, I feel a little weak or depressed or fuck it, the Wheaties aren't going down right. I just go to bed for 3 days and 4 nights, pull down all the shades, and just go to bed. Get out, shit, just drink a beer now and then, go back to bed. I come out of that completely re-enlightened for 2 or 3 months. I get power from that. I think someday, I'll say this psychotic guy knew something that, in days ahead of medicine and how they figure these things out. Everybody should go to bed now and then when they're down low and just give it up for 3 or 4 days. Then they'll come back good for a while. But we're so obsessed with we have to get up and do it, go back to sleep. In fact, there's a woman I'm living with now, gets around 12:30, 1 p.m. I say, I'm sleepy, I want to go to sleep. She said, what? You want to go to sleep? It's only 1 p.m. You're not even drinking, Hell, there's nothing else to do but sleep. People are nailed to the processes. Up, down, do something. Get up, do something, go to sleep. Get up. They can't get out of that circle. You'll see, someday they'll say, Bukowski knew. Lay down for 3 or 4 days so get your juices back, then get up, look around, and do it. But who the hell can do it? Because you need $1. That's all. That's a long speech, but it means something.
In fact, it's always trying to avoid being swallowed by the machine.
Yeah, basically always. Every inch of, even when you walk in, you meet a waitress. She walks up and says, you want a cup of coffee? Right there it starts. Because you don't even know if you want a cup of coffee because either she's up too fast or she's around too long. There's always questions and answers, and they have to fit. We're never allowed to, That's why we all enjoy seeing Mad Men in movies or something. We admire them because they're doing exactly what they want to do. It might be cutting heads off of little girls and putting them all in the bathtub or something. But we admire that creature because it's aligned to do exactly what it wants to do. And the closer you get to exactly what you want to do, the better you are as a human creature, or as any kind of thing. As wood, anything. It's waiting to get burned. Let's forget that. But you know my point.
So you get
People are pointless. I love murder. I love anybody who tried to murder me because I had a suicide complex. So they told me anybody who walked in there wasn't known would be murdered. So of course, any suicide would welcome that. So I walked in and they didn't fulfill their plan.
because you talked to the wife of a gangster, I think I remember.
If you talked to her, you did, man. Someone right up talked to her. She was a good looker. And, you know, like any other woman, she played right along with me. Says, hi, how you doing? Shook her head. I said, I'm doing all right, baby. Well, I wasn't even about $13. So, some guy came out. Well, they were two big, you know how these Italians look. They're both glaring at me.